And he's back.
Hello?
And we're back.
Zobs.
Hello?
Test.
Hey,
One, two.
Zobs. Hey,
Zobs.
Zobs. We decided that we're going to be whispering
Hello?
for the remainder of the series
Hello?
of the podcast.
Hello,
This
can you
is
hear
like a
me?
new vibe.
Apex ASMR.
Apex.
Oh.
Is everything okay?
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Barely.
Now we
Oh
can.
my god, I was going crazy.
Zobs, you sound like you're in another country right now. What's happening?
I am in another country.
Oh.
Welcome to the Dropship. My name is Zobs.
And this is Nugget.
Hey, this is Meteor Juice.
Tonight we kick off with a bunch of lore. Pathfinder in a trench coat. Meteor's back on his legend quest. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing great.
I am good.
Have you guys ever gotten deep into the lore of a game before?
I don't think I've ever lured out on a shooter before, like a battle royale or a shooter. I've definitely lured out on like Uncharted or Last of Us.
Oh,
but
cool.
I would say Apex is like the first game that I've played that's, I mean, the fundamentals are a BR shooter, but it has this extraneous backstory that just sort of like deepens the whole experience. And for me, I would say I follow it to an extent. I appreciate that it's there. I'm so glad that it's there, but I'm not like a lore fiend, so I don't know all the character backstories and how they all relate and all that stuff. It doesn't get my juices flowing, but I am really glad that it's there.
I'm in a similar boat. I highly appreciate the fact that it exists. The big thing about it is that I think what it does, it gives a lot of charm to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people who like, they say like, hey, why do we even have voice lines? Like they spam the voice lines. They're really cheesy. I don't like them. But like, it adds a lot of personality and charm, you know, like you're hanging out, like you're going through the game and then you'll get like a voice line and it makes you chuckle a little bit. It's color, it's aesthetic. It adds another layer, which you wouldn't have otherwise like thought of. I mean, you could play like a game and just do it for the mechanics, but what it is, it's like a beautiful coat of paint. Like it's flavor, you know. I like that it's there. But do I go deep into it? I don't. But when it comes out, it's like, oh, that's really fun. Did you ever play League of Legends or or Overwatch? How did you feel about Overwatch when they do stuff like this?
Something about Overwatch. Maybe it was just the space I was at the time. I feel like I got more into the lore. Or at least I knew more of like how they all connected. I just feel, I guess maybe that's pretty consistent for me across the games. I really like it, like what you're saying. It just adds depth and flavor to the game. It adds like a personality that I'm just not super into, but at the same time, I know I would miss it if it weren't there. Like it's, it's just, yeah.
Like characters you choose, it's like a hero. You pick heroes, right? And what's cool about Apex, and I suppose also, I've never played these games like League of Legends or Overwatch, but like that brings into question like people quote unquote maining legends, right? Part of it is just like their personalities and what you like about them, not necessarily just the mechanics. So I think it all kind of just intermingles in a really fun way. Yeah,
I think especially like now that I finally got an heirloom. It's cool that
we can talk about that.
There's an heirloom backstory to a lot of the legends, and you can connect the heirloom to some sort of little storyline in their history, which are all those little small elements that even if you're not super, up to date with how they all connect and link together, it just gives you that added investment in the game and the legend that you play. That really, I think, goes a long way for the longevity of the game and your investment in it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I like that these lore videos are releasing, and just like every season, there's kind of like this underlying kind of storyline. I like that it's evolving too. So while we're continuing to play the game, our ideas of the characters and our thoughts behind them are also evolving, which is pretty cool. It keeps it fresh, or a little fresh, If you ever go on Reddit, there's pretty much every legend on Apex have their own little subreddit. Like Pathfinder mains, Wraith mains, Watson mains. And
I feel like I'm
funny.
in six of those.
Yeah, I'm in like 8 of them or 9 of them.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet there's still like a handful of people in each subreddit who play Legends merely for their personalities. Like I'm sure Mirage mains
Totally.
play them because they love Mirage, or Watson mains they love Watson, how cute she is. That's like part of their appeal.
Yeah.
And I also love like in those subreddits, like there's like a culture like kind of in line with the personalities of the Legends they main too. So like the memes that you see there, or like people like being all like lovey-dovey with how cute Watson is and stuff. It's adorable. I'd rather have the lore and the characters and like the background of the story and stuff than without it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. And I like so appreciate people who are super into the lore, because that's the best way that I soak it in, is from following it from people who are like really passionate about it and will just share it in the Discord or on Reddit, and see all these little links that they run together. That gets me sort of jazzed up about it more so than I would if people weren't as interested in it.
Yeah, I've never gone deep into lore. I think Apex is going to be the first game that I'm going to see how deep I can go into it. And Nugget, we were talking about how there's different ways to absorb lore. I like Destiny. I knew what was going on, but I can't say I ever got really deep into it. But today's Fight Night stories from the Outland definitely got my interests peaked.
Yeah.
I want to know more.
It was awesome.
Here's a question. When you're playing games like The Last of Us or Resident Evil, do you stop and read the extra items, the journals, and all those kind of extra lore items?
Yes. Not every time, but I try to. I'm like,
I worry too much about getting all the like trophies, like getting the platinum trophy on PlayStation, that I miss out on all that stuff. And I wish I didn't do that. But when I play a game like Last of Us or, whatever it is, Tomb Raider, like I want to get the platinum trophy, so I spend too much time trying to get all the collectibles, and I miss out on the actual narrative experience of the game.
You turn into a completionist.
Yeah, I'm a completionist. I like the games where it lets you play through on the first go, and you're not going to miss anything. Yeah, you don't have to worry too much about all the collectibles.
I think that's cool. I like that you go for the platinum trophies and actually like really, really complete the game.
Like, have you guys read any of the comics that they're having this season?
No.
One of them, or was it last season?
No,
I haven't.
Yeah, I feel like
there's
that's a
one
good
here, too.
indicator of the degree to which you're interested in lore. Like, if you take the time, I just
that's
click
true.
through. I want the reward. I don't care what it says.
You get rewards for reading the comics?
Yeah, you get little gun charms and stuff.
It's not week to week, though.
the cool gun
No,
charms.
it's not week to week, but
No, you have to do the whole line,
okay.
and then you get it. So I'm not really following it, but I like that those quest lines are actually canon too, as part of the lore. I know, like, so the season 5 quest where like there was a spy and like something with Loba's quest. I have no idea what's happening. Also, it's like kind of connected to Titanfall, which I still haven't played, so like I don't know. Like, I'm sure the people who are super into that were like really surprised with Ash's reveal and all that. What I like about it is that there's like this falling out between like Crypto and Caustic and Watson, and it goes through with the voice lines they interact with.
yeah.
I think in canon right now, Crypto and Caustic kind of have like an animosity towards each other.
Yeah, I was seeing something about them being stepbrothers too. Like, that's a whole nother
Excuse me?
theory or subplot. I was seeing that a lot today.
Maybe I don't want to go that deep.
I do know from the comics that...
That's ridiculous.
Oh, do you remember who was in a hospital bed? Somebody was hurt?
Watson.
Was it, Watson.
Yeah.
Caustic's got a sweet spot for Watson.
Yeah,
Right.
he's like protective of her.
And Lifeline and Octane are dating, right? Or did date?
No,
something?
they're like...
Yes.
Wait, they're not... Are they? No, they're not. They're best buds. They're not dating.
I thought they were dating.
platonic. No, it's platonic.
That's the degree to which I follow the lore.
No, Octane blew his legs off, and Lifeline was the one who like saved his life or something. So they're like best buds. Also, they're from the same planet, which is where Olympus is based on.
Someone went on a date. Who went on a date? Someone went on a date with someone.
And there was one scene where Octane went on a date with some like Hammond employee, and hey, you should spy on her for info or something. I don't know. But yeah, the current quest like comics right now is actually like Octane and Lifeline focused.
Cool. You got to trade gaming time for the comics.
Yeah,
So,
that's the thing.
I mean, you don't have to. I guess
True.
you could YouTube it or whatever, but you're always like, oh, comics. Or I could drop into a match. and that's a tough. So I don't like reading that much.
Just grab the treasure packs, and then like my plan is like I'm gonna grab all the treasure packs like every time I play, and then by the end, like right before like the season ends, I'm gonna like just fly through the quest and like get the rewards.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd be like, okay, that's neat.
Lore's kind of fun, but I do understand now why when Lifeline walks into the grow houses, she gets all like, "Oh, think of all the people they could have saved if they just shared," because she's from that planet.
Yeah, I think I've heard one or two, but I don't remember that one.
Yeah, Lifeline's got some thoughts about Olympus. I get it now.
Yeah, I think different areas maybe sparks different voice lines. I think that's cool. I think that's fun.
So Fright Night, what do you think Fight Night's gonna be? Think boxing match?
Yo, can we talk about that video real quick though? Because we haven't talked about it yet. It's super cool. It's my favorite so far. I mean, the Revenant one, the Wraith one are also really good, but this one was super fun. I like that they gave a backstory of why Pathfinder like has boxing gloves and he's really into like being a boxer. And this is like kind of like a loose like explanation for that, which I like. It's not just like, hey, remember Rock'em Sock and Robots? This is our like little homage to that. It's actually like, I mean, I'm sure that's what it is, but I like that they kind of justified it through like some weird canon story. I loved it. Like this sci-fi noir with like Pathfinder being like the slapstick, like
had a lot of like Blade Runner vibes. It was
exactly
cool.
Totally.
I like that it's like some like grizzled cop who used to be a boxer, and like that's why Pathfinder is kind of into it. It's fun. It's great.
It was another Stories from the Outland where I felt it was even more brutal and more adult and vicious. Because when Loba killed, or when Loba's family got killed, I remember being like, "Oh damn, Apex stepping it up with this lore."
Yeah,
right?
That's dark.
You know, like whoa. And then now you're watching like poor Pathfinder's memories, and you're watching point blank executions, and I don't even remember half of them. I think I blocked some of them out. I don't know what's going on, but I love it.
Apparently, Pathfinder's creator, you see them, and it's this like female scientist, and apparently her name is Amelia P, and she has a French accent in the video, so people are speculating it's like Watson's like mother or grandmother, which is pretty neat. Because her name is Amelia P, like her last name is just like a one letter, so it's presumed to be Paquette, and she has a French accent.
Paquette,
and she's like a scientist.
I'll buy it.
Yeah, it totally tracks. It's pretty cool.
So do you think the boxing ring will be actually something where you can have punch fights? Like you jump into the boxing ring and all weapons are disabled and you can punch it out with another person?
They make it look that way. It looks,
I think there's a ring, right? There's at least a boxing ring, so that's exciting. I don't know what like the periphery like map terrain is going to be like. I assume just buildings. I don't know.
Do you think it'll be something where once you enter the ring, all your items are like disabled, or is it going to be one of those trust things where you have to like agree to drop all your stuff before you enter the ring?
Okay, so this is my hope. Okay, and I hope this like they alter. Maybe there's going to be patch notes. Maybe a patch comes out when they drop it. But my hope is that they change where the final rings close, and it closes on the ring in the fight in the town takeover.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Where it encourages you to do like the meme of dropping all your stuff and boxing it out, or at the very least, like the final ring is just like the boxing arena, which is kind of fun.
That would be a cool LTM.
Yeah. Well, not LTM necessarily.
That
just like
would be.
One of the
people
final
would
rings
hate it
just ends
so
there.
much.
It's gonna be awesome.
So much rage.
I'm hoping, and also I want to like because I just got Pathfinder's heirloom, so I'm like really excited to like.
Oh yeah, you can really box it up with the gloves.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that.
Robot in a trench coat.
Dude, yeah. Gumshoe Detective Pathfinder. I'm getting it.
I'm buying some skins, hands down.
Yeah, it's happening. I'm a sucker for it.
So deep question, guys. When do you think you've mastered a legend?
Ooh, this was a good discussion on our Discord.
This was a big discussion. Was this? Did Geek start
Chrome
this one? Oh, Chrome started it.
Chrome, yeah. I think he was listening to our last episode.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Well, what do you guys think? Well, okay, so the question was, what do you consider mastery? I guess in terms of
when you're as good
a legend or Apex.
When you're as good with a legend as I am, you've mastered him.
That's the barometer.
A little subjective.
Dot.
Mastery. It's tough. I think my bar for mastery is pretty high. So
yeah. I think.
All right, let's
I
specify
think,
it then. Personal mastery.
What's the isn't there something like you're supposed to do something for something tens of
10,000
thousands,
hours.
10,000 hours?
I mean, I've definitely played Apex for at least 10,000 hours at this point.
Have you played one legend
Since
for
I launched
10,000
it?
hours though?
Oh no, I haven't.
I feel like to get mastery in a certain legend, you really have to only play that legend for the vast majority of your game time and have a significant amount of game time. And if that's your jam, then like all good for you, and I think that's awesome. But that to me, it just sort of like takes out some of the fun of this game because there's so many awesome legends that you can play in so many different ways, and to limit yourself to just one. While maybe it sort of focuses your gameplay and you can master that legend and you know how to use all their abilities in all these different scenarios, it's sort of like, I don't know, there's so many different flavors, and just to limit yourself to one flavor, I don't know, I feel like you're missing out a little bit.
My idea of it, for if you're a master of a legend, would be, you can just hop in and play that legend like easy peasy, like their strengths and weaknesses and when to use their abilities. And I think the marker also is like advanced techniques, like like creatively how to use your abilities and how to counter legends with your abilities in any situation. Archimedes said like figuring out a way to using every knowing how to change a situation to suit your legend's needs. So I guess for like a defensive legends, maybe drawing the enemies towards like some area you fortified, stuff like that. And I think the big thing is just building kind of like a reflex where you're not even thinking about it at this point, where you're like, I know where to put all the caustic traps. I don't have to think about it. I know how to fence this and this, and like you haven't even thought about it. You blinked and like all the fences are up where they need to go. Like your flank's ready to go, like it's all protected, et cetera, et cetera. There's no delay. Like you just do it, and especially in a game where you have to be like really, really fast with reflexes and reaction time. Like someone who's a master of legend wouldn't have to think about it. It's just, you do it and it's ready to go. And obviously other factors if I can think about it. And then so the height of that too. I mean maybe that's not enough. Maybe I'm using the term mastery a little like kind of casually. Maybe like maybe it's not easy. Like the pinnacle of mastering a legend is like way higher. But I don't know if I said it.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've mastered any legends yet.
Yeah,
I'm proficient in a few.
I thinking, I'd want to consider myself a master of Pathfinder. Like I can grapple, I can do all the grapples, but like I still haven't like. Again, I want to like highlight the fact that I feel like using their abilities like really, really creatively and like using advanced techniques where like they're the techniques using their abilities where people don't normally think about. Like with Pathfinder, like you can grapple enemies, but do people usually do? So someone who's a master at Pathfinder would probably like use that a lot, or at least whenever they have the opportunity, that's like key for that ability. Like finishing a fight or something, they'll grapple the enemy and like shoot him with a massive in the face. Like you can do that as Pathfinder, but do people normally do it? You can get by without it, but a master would like know exactly when to do it and would do it if they can.
All right. So how come you think the Hemlock's so hard to nerf?
I don't think it's hard to nerf. I think it needs to be nerfed. I've
just
admitted
nerf it already.
No, you were talking about this in the Discord. You got feelings about the Hemlock?
Yeah, I'm not a big Hemlock fan at the moment.
You hate it. I love it.
Quite a bit of frustration. It's just too strong. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like I've played this game enough that when something is out of balance, you can just feel it. And the Hemlock right now just feels... Because I think the game right now is in a really great place, balance-wise. Mm-hmm. The weapons are all pretty strong and balanced. Some have their niches, others have their others. And all the legends are pretty, have great, reasons to play them. And so when everything else is balanced, the things that are out of balance really stand out. And I think the Hemlock really stands out from the weapon perspective because there's really no weakness that the gun has. Yeah. It's good at all ranges. And the burst right now is, if you can hit your shots, if you're proficient with your aim.
No, you don't have to.
And you don't even have to be like pro level. You can just be an average aimer. It's super strong. You can get melted so fast. We had a game the other night where there was a lifeline, I think we got confused. Either a lifeline or a Loba, who was solo and held all three of us, a bay. Like, we couldn't approach her because every time one of us peeked, we'd get a burst to the chest, and we couldn't do enough damage that you can't push without being vulnerable, because it outputs so much damage so quickly that it's you really have to respect the weapon in a way that you don't have to respect the rest of the weapons in the game. And I don't think it's not game breaking, but it's definitely in need of a nerf.
Yeah, the big issue with the Hemlock is that the burst recoil got reduced so hard, where you don't really have to control it. You do a little bit, but once you get a hang of it, it's super easy now. The TTK on it's super fast. You'll down someone in less than a second if you just get your shots. If they're not behind cover and you get your shots in, they're dead. The big issue with with a decreased recoil is that of course, you spam the burst and they die super fast. But the thing is, with the reduced recoil, you can kill someone with the burst at much longer ranges than you normally would have. Presumably, a burst weapon with the recoil of it, able to only hit them from short to mid range. But since the recoil is so low, you're doing bursts at long range, which is absurd.
The recoil is controlled for you, like you said. So it's like an auto rifle that you don't have to control the recoil. You just pull the trigger and it goes up and down. You pull the trigger again and it goes up and down. And the fact that the burst,
it goes up, you're guaranteed to always have some headshots per burst. That's what also makes it deadly. And that's why this season, because they buffed it 2 seasons ago, so this season they kind of gave it a little nerf where they reduced the headshot damage, but the burst recoil is still the same. It's still super, super good. Too good. And
it's too good.
And then it also has single fire, which is amazing at long range. And that's pretty much what I used the Hemlock for, was a mid-range, long-range kind of single fire gun. But now it's burst. I've rarely used single fire these days. It's just always on burst because why chip away and get the down from a little further range when I could just close the distance slightly and then melt them instantly,
All right, guys, no time to think. For the rest of your lives, you only get to throw hammer points onto Mozambiques or 2020s. What do you pick? Nugget.
I'm going 2020, hands down. I'm a 2020 guy.
Oh, man.
No time to think.
If I had to choose...
you do have to
choose.
Stop stalling.
If I had to choose, I'd say P 2020, but we've
2020.
talked about it last episode.
All right.
Zops.
We got 3 2020s. It's been decided. You Mozambiquers are wrong. You are misguided, and you're letting your teams down.
Mozambique with hammers is super good. It's a close second. There's the distance between them is
I don't want to hear from this Mozambique apologist.
I'm appealed towards Mozambique with hammers now. If you haven't, don't knock it before you try it. It's great. But
it's not as good as the T2020.
The thing is, a base P2020 is pretty good. Not base, but without hammers, it's surprisingly not bad.
I just love the sound of the P2020 with hammers.
Yeah, it's the sound.
The sound is so
bing,
satisfying.
Bing. It's bing, bing. There's this high ping to it inside it's so good. So good.
It's good sound.
Hammer points.
The sounds on the Apex guns are some of my favorite gun sounds I've ever heard. So, Meteor.
Yes. What do you want?
Can you make me good at Legends? Who are we doing this week?
Make you good at Legends? Yeah, probably.
Snap.
So who are we talking? What legends have you been rocking lately?
Okay, so my legend quest. I'm almost done. I have 3 more legends to go. So the first legend I want to go through. Actually, while you're here, Nugget, I'm glad you're back. Let's do Bloodhound.
Oh yes.
Yes. Which I've heard you've got an heirloom for. How's that going?
I did.
Yeah. Hey, what was your thought process?
Yeah.
On picking your heirloom? What made you decide to pull the trigger on Bloodhound, and how are you feeling about? Because you You had to wait for your heirloom. You did not
sure
get
did.
your heirloom right away.
I think I must have got it in the 490s. I was pretty close to that 500 pack.
Take us on that journey. How'd you make your decision?
If I had gotten it at different parts in this journey, I probably would have picked other heirlooms. There was definitely a time I would have gotten lifelines for sure, because she's been my OG main.
You go through phases. You go through like
I really do,
like main phases.
Yeah, I've always kind of thought Bloodhound. I've just really loved the aesthetics of Bloodhound and love their lore, and just think they're a really fun legend, and they sort of match my playstyle. And I wanted someone who I spent a lot of time with, who I think I would go back to even after like getting tired of them and playing other legends, and also just liking the heirloom itself. And it was down between lifelines and bloodhounds, or just holding onto it and waiting for like cryptos or Bangalores. But I just felt like I've waited long enough. I gotta, what do you say? Smoke them if you got them, Zop. So I. So I pulled the trigger and I got Bloodhounds because it's a little bit different. It's not the most popular, and Bloodhound is someone who I've always really appreciated the aesthetics of, and wanted to get back to, because I think my gameplay style matches up with what they sort of shine at. So that's what I did, and I'm super excited that I did. I don't regret it at all, and have just really enjoyed having that that axe flipping around.
Yeah. And the fact that they've got an axe, which is just a good weapon.
Yeah.
I'm sure that feels good to stick somebody with.
Yep, sure does.
Yeah. You were talking about like, I'm thinking about waiting, maybe like see what comes up, and I'm like, you need to get this now. Like,
yeah.
Like we talked it out too. Like, okay, what other legends? Like maybe crypto, but like it's gonna be forever. You're gonna sit on heirloom shards for that long.
No, that would be that's not the move.
Yeah, I thought like Bloodhound. I think Bloodhound's perfect for you.
All right, Nugget. So what Bloodhound tips?
I'll let Meteor share what you've been liking about him.
Scan, and then
scan, and more scan.
Run around and look at tracks. Okay, so Bloodhound. There are a few legends. I've had ups and downs with the legends I've been learning. Bloodhound ended up being one of the more effortless legends I got to play, and I think that kind of reflects the design of their kit. And yeah, Bloodhound is super straightforward, super simple, but really satisfying. The scans, oh boy, the scans, they are super powerful. Like just the right scan at the right time, like gives you a view of the entire like area where all the positioning is, and like you'll know how to operate exactly when you know where all the enemies are, So yeah, it's been kind of effortless playing Bloodhound and like timing those scans. I mean, sorry, what were you saying? Were you gonna say something?
I was gonna say I love to use the scans after a fight too. Like if you feel a third party coming,
sure,
or your spidey sense goes off when you think a third party is out there somewhere, or one's coming. If you send a scan out, it just gives them that pause that you need to grab the shield swap or reposition, so you have a moment to
Have you actually had moments like that where you like just kind of do a preliminary scan and realize the third party's coming?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Oh wow, okay.
I send it out. Sometimes I just waste scans because I like we're looting. We want to fight. We're looting, and I'm pretty sure no one's there, but I have it, so I might as well send it out to see if anyone's coming.
I think that's great. I think it's a good idea.
I like to start fights with it, and I like to end fights with it.
I've noticed like kind of like when I queue in with like lower level randos, they kind of just scan even though like no one dropped us. So what I like to do is I like to save my scans, because obviously it gives away your position. So I really just save it like until like we're pushing and we know there are people nearby. But if we're like rotating, I'm not gonna scan. Like if like I have a pretty good idea that there's no enemies nearby, like at least in the nearest vicinity of us, like I'm not gonna waste it, because the scan is so long now that like if there's a enemy squad in the fringes of it, like they'll know we're there, and then they can like ready themselves for us. So I like conserving it just a little bit, but like during combat and stuff, like I'm spamming it. And then the ultimate. You got any tips for the ultimate? Or for me, I just
my
kind of
biggest
used
tip
it.
is just to mentally readjust, because when you pop that ultimate, you do the whole bathing in the blóð animation, and you feel like you're instantly invincible, but you're so not.
Yeah.
You're just as vulnerable as you are, if not more, because you're super visible and audibly loud. So I like to use it. I like to sort of, in my mind, I pop it. I still pretty aggressive with it, but I like to think, don't overexpose myself, because having the scans every, I think it's 6 seconds, is super impactful on fights. So I try to be aggressive, but also try to, in the back of my mind, think I have the potential to give my squad so much intel just by doing the scans every 6 seconds. So that's my biggest tip is to just mentally check yourself that you're not as invincible as you feel like you are when you pop the ult.
Yeah, okay. I think I got that problem, yeah. I go nuts. Especially when you offer me a link combo. Like, hey, you can link these knocks together infinitely.
Oh yeah,
blood.
Yeah. It's so rewarding.
I just gotta remember that like they know where I'm coming from. So I think if you're about to turn a corner, like, because you're gonna have your scan, might as well scan to like kind of even the playing ground. Like, oh, they're pre-aiming me, or and also just utilizing the speed boost. Like, even if they know where you're coming from, at least like make sure you're strafing and moving and juking, because you have that movement boost.
That's great for flanking too. Like if your two squad mates are focusing someone, then you can be super aggro with it because they're distracted by getting shot from the other side of a rock, and you just push full speed ahead from the other side. I feel like in those situations you can be super aggro, and it's not going to be detrimental to you.
And I know you've also utilized the ult to scan enemies when you're going up a jump tower, like for rotating, and also like just utilizing the movement boost when you want to like grab banners and stuff, so you can get in and get out.
Yep, yeah, it's a good rotational tool. You go super fast.
And and then lastly for Bloodhound, I think is that I think I've gotten to the level with Bloodhound where I can just play them and jump in and like play pretty well. But in terms of like I guess nearing quote unquote mastery, deepening your understanding of Bloodhound is the track marks, like the tracks. Just like hunting down and identifying where enemy squads are. What it really is, it's like being a detective when you're rotating out and you start seeing tracks. I think like a master Bloodhound would be able to like kind of deduce like, okay, like what, like we heard gunshots, that's why we're here. Okay, maybe like they just finished the fight, right? We watched the kill feed and the fight ended. It's like, okay, maybe I can use the tracks to discover where they're healing. So like stuff like that. And just like hunting that solo down that you've been like, who like kind of disappeared. And of course, like using the scan to suss out the rat, like in a corner or something. I think that's really powerful.
Oh, that's the word.
Yeah.
We just the last player.
Yeah.
And you get scanned. Oh, it's so depressing.
But yeah, we played a game or two where like I'm like the last one I'm ratting, and I just watch a Bloodhound run past. And it's like, why didn't they scan you? It's like, okay, well that's not a good Bloodhound, is it?
I would like that. That'd be great if there was a badge that kept track of how many knocks you got in a single ultimate.
Yeah, that would be a cool badge.
That would be
That's
cool.
a good idea.
I mean, you have Bloodhound. You have ultimate kills. That's not a badge, but it's a tracker.
Cool. Oh yeah, I mean tracker. Excuse me. I
like that.
Yeah.
Kills per most kills in an ult. That's a cool idea.
Okay, so we're running close on time. Let's do crypto next. I would consider myself a crypto main, but in fact, when I went back to crypto for this season, I actually like took a long break. Partly because I want to learn like other legends, and partly because Nugget started using crypto, which I completely support. Crypto is an awesome character, and I'm loving that you're loving using crypto. So I kind of want to combine our thoughts on crypto now that you've been playing them so recently and often.
I really come around on crypto. I was not a fan at first, and now I'm a big fan.
What's appealing to you about him?
Well, I think for a lot of the reasons you started playing him, like he's not picked very much, and you really have to learn how to play him well.
Yeah.
So he's super rewarding once you figure him out and get a sense of how to play him well. And what I really love about him is that he can impact the game in ways that really no other legend can, and win you games that you have no business winning. And can just really do so much.
Remember that?
And I guess it's really the challenge. I like that he can if you can play him well, he's super strong. but if you play him poorly, he's among the worst legends in the game, if not maybe the worst.
Yeah.
So I just like the challenge, and it's kind of cool to play him well and to tap into that potential that he has.
Started maining crypto back in season 3 when he was poop. He didn't have a lot of his changes, but like I made him. I think I maximized like what he could do at the time, and what was really rewarding is that, well, also punishing was the fact that like back then there was such a stigma on like bad cryptos where like people would disconnect if you pick crypto. Like that's happened. Or like they'll get on mic and be like, "What the fuck? Why are you playing crypto? Like he's fucking trash. Like what are you doing?" Another thing I like about him is that if you can play him really well, it's really rewarding when like, say if I'm solo queuing, like random teammates are like, "Oh, you're a great crypto. Like that was awesome. Blah blah blah." Like your plays are rewarded. Like people appreciate a good crypto. So I like that a lot. Like knowing that I could jump to that proficiency level again and kind of play effectively. I kind of wanted to push the boundaries of what I could do with crypto's kit, because a general principle when you're starting crypto, and if you want to be a good crypto, is you don't want to be in your drone a lot. You want to just be like judicious with your drone, and like you whip it out, and it's only be like you're in your drone for like 2 seconds, and you place it where you need to place it for the EMP or watching the flank or whatever. But this time, I was like, well, I mean, I could do that, or I could just like kind of experimenting with plays where I'm like, I want to see like how often and how like which circumstances I can actually use what crypto's drone's designed to be, which is a security camera. So I'll be putting it in like really interesting locations, like in the corners of rooms and stuff, or like it's a third party to fight. I think it worked like half the time, but in terms of my experience for this season, I was mostly doing that. Yeah, and just in general, like tips for like new crypto players. Yeah, just don't be in your drone a lot. Be really conscious of 2v3s. Take the lead. I think Nugget, you were talking about like somebody also advised that like, hey, to use crypto, you got to be super aggressive because you're leading the push with your EMPs.
Yep.
So really like dictate that and like shot call to your squad. Like if you're solo queuing and stuff, or I mean, I just do it anyway. Like if I'm EMPing, I'm gonna do the attacking here ping, or just go in comms and call it out, using it to watch flanks. And
get the recon beacons. It's easy. You have the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
Get those recon
beacons are huge, and the super quick respawns are really fun.
Carry a mobile respawn if you can.
Yes, that. Yeah. Do you have anything to add, Nugget or Zops?
No, I think you covered it.
I would say find yourself don't play crypto. What you need is a good crypto teammate. You get all the scans, but then you get other abilities too.
Yeah, having good crypto is nice.
That's my tip.
It takes a good amount of playtime to really figure it all out. It
takes a lot of
because it's so timing based.
But yeah.
Hey, what was that? To wrap up, what was that 60-meter distance for where you need to explode it while you're running to be safe?
Yeah. So now that you're when you do your EMP, are you talking about the EMP?
If you're picking up banners, I thought you were talking about when you pick up banners.
Okay, well it's two things. So what Zops is referring to is when you EMP, the EMP radius flat out is 30 meters, right? So what you could do is when you set your drone out, on the bottom left is the distance from crypto U to the drone where you're piloting. If it's 60 meters away, what you could do is set the drone, set your EMP, and by the time you rush up to the fight, you'll barely get to the edge of the crypto the EMP blast. So it's 30-meter blast, but if you're 60 feet away, by the time you run over, you're just barely catching up to where you're not getting hit by the blast, if that makes sense. Like, you trigger it, you run, and the EMP just ends where you're just about to enter that radius so you can get into the fight.
Nice. Nugget, what revive box thing were you talking about?
Pretty similar concept. I thought you were talking about, because a lot of times Meteor's played crypto enough that if I'm like trying to grab banners with the drone, I think it's a tip that you gave out once, Meteor, where you said if you ping this spot from your ping, you can, once you're 60 meters away, that's the distance of when you can put the drone out or how far you can go without being out of range for the drone.
Yeah, it's 60 meters.
So if like you ping the box, then you run to get safe, you always at least have a reference point for how far away you are from those boxes.
So the edge of your drone is, you can only fly up to your drone up to 200 meters before you can't control it anymore. So when you're disengaging a fight, and like say your teammates are down and you're like disengaging because you know you can go back and fly your drone to grab banners, always be cognizant of how far you're running away. So like look back and highlight like where your teammates' pings are, where their banners are, because it pings it to you. It'll show you the meter track. You can only go up to 200 meters. So go like you can only run as far as like 200 to 199 meters away. So make sure you're not going too far, because if you're like fleeing indiscriminately, you realize you're 220 meters away and you can't grab banners. Like it's screwed up. So always be cognizant that you're within 200 meters before you fly your drone out and grab banners.
Nice.
Yep, that's huge.
Hit that heart on Spotify. It helps us out, helps the show grow. If you're on iTunes, rate or review us. If you're on Alexa, say, hey, Alexa, I like this podcast or something. Anything helps. So you guys got anything else before we wrap up?
No, that's it. I can't wait to talk about more Legends.
All right.
Are we signing off?
Do it to it. Thanks for being here, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Dropship.
Thanks for listening, guys. Join the Discord. We'd love to see you guys there. And yeah, so that's been my time with the Dropship podcast. Listen to my next podcast, the Drop Shipping podcast. And it's been a good time.
Boo. Boo.
Happy New Year. Here's to 2021.
Ooh, Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year's, everybody. Laser Blazers.